what is your relationship with boredom?
Good question.
So, like what you guys mentioned when you mentioned with the kids. So, I have two little sisters,
Yeah.
and there's one issue is that whenever they get on the phone, they start, getting rude, and I wonder sometimes like what goes through their little heads. So, as what I usually do, like what you guys just said, is just think of something because I have like to stay positive. I usually have this come up with like some kind of goal. So, what I did one time for my little sister. I told her, I took away the phone. I got in trouble for it because I just swiped it. But I told her, okay, Mama, I want you to do something for me. And she gives me this stare like, why did you do that? And I told her, I like move her little head to the side and I tell her, okay, I want you to stare at that cloud. Yes. What is the coolest thing that could come out of there? And she turns around and she said, that spaceship. What kind of spaceship? The one from Star Wars. It could come down and whoosh, destroy us all. She's very creative for her age. It's cute.
Well, that's exactly what we're talking about, right? That's a great exercise. You're very wise. What are you, 80? What else? Your relationship to boredom.
Well, I was just going to say that the road trip example, actually, I would agree that that's a little bit, to me, understandable. But I think the scariest part about this discussion, just what we're talking about, is it's coming down to 2 minutes of waiting in a grocery line that people are looking at their phones. And I just think that's the problem, I think, personally. And for my generation, for other generations, is a literal minute of zoning out. And maybe that's not present, but you're not running to technology for stimulus. We're missing that. Kids are growing up not knowing, not coming up with ideas of what to do, just having something to do. And I think that's terrifying. That terrifies me.
Yeah, anybody else on boredom?
For me, it's a different situation since I was young, I'm always on the move and I'm always busy doing something, to set myself up for the future. So since my passion is music and whatnot, I'm always living by the beat and whatnot. And even if I'm like stripped down of all technology, I'm still doing something, practicing my craft with my lyrics or, making beats in my head or something like that. So in a sense, every moment I breathe and stuff like that, it's always useful. So I'm never bored in a situation because I love doing music and having music-oriented things, so I'm never bored of doing the same thing over and over if it's my passion, a hobby.
Well, no one is denying his future success. Who else? Anybody else on this point, boredom?
On the topic of boredom, I think that it's important to talk about the science between optimal arousal in the brain and the level of processing that your brain functions optimally at, and that over time that level has gotten so much higher and is getting exponentially higher, and that boredom comes, I think, what am I trying to say? Boredom comes easier to people in younger generations because we're socialized to have an expectation of more. We always want, we're expected to put more into the world and to receive more in return all the time at every single moment. That's why, I feel compelled to take out my phone and to multitask by, doing something, writing something while I'm watching a movie, because the level of stimulus that my brain expects is higher than it used to be. And I think that I think we need to pay more attention to the science of how the brains have changed and how we can, maybe fix those changes, as opposed to, just saying to kids, just look out the window, you don't have to be bored. Because I think that, the psychology and the chemistry behind it has gone through a fundamental shift in the past 10 or 20 years that I think should really be addressed.
All right.